Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Droozee, and we're here with the first video of the Pokemon Yellow series. Today, we're playing with the namesake of the channel, Drowzee. Drowzee is one of my favorite Pokemon, but it isn't necessarily the best. Even with base 90 special in Gen 1, Drowzee still comes in at the bottom third of all Pokemon base stats. I think this one will be a fun run, but I think that low HP and the low attack is going to end up costing us. Let's see how it plays out. So as always, the rival starts off with a challenge in the lab, and we'll get to see one of the great things about Drowzee. I start with a pound to see how much damage it'll do before going for hypnosis, which is awesome in Gen 1. We'll see it put the rival to sleep, and then after that, there is absolutely no more damage taken as Eevee stays asleep, and we can whittle it down. Sleep is just so overpowered in Gen 1, but we'll be using it quite a bit to try to be able to move on a little bit more quickly in this run. So after this battle here in the lab, we will end up fast forwarding a little bit to rival battle 1A. We will not always be doing this battle, but in this case we want to make sure that he ends up with Jolteon, which will have Pin Missile, which will be the hardest for us to face overall at the end due to being super effective against our psychic typing. In this battle, you'll again see the amazing power of sleep as we put the Spearow to sleep early, and it has a chance to do damage to us. And we will do the same to Eevee. However, we do get outsped and take a sand attack in the process, but then we're able to whittle it down with Pound before ultimately taking it out and moving on to Brock with minimal problems. So after this battle, we'll move on to Brock, and Brock is going to be a massive problem. In Gen 1, he has 5 full heals for each of his Pokemon, so Hypnosis won't be very useful. He's got strong defenses, and all we have is Pound, and we have no stab from our Pound, so it's really not going to be very strong. You will see that I'm at level 14, so I did a little bit of grinding before this, and came in with a unique strategy to try to use Disable, to try to force some struggle damage, even though struggle is stronger than tackle. It's going to cause that recoil damage, and that recoil damage is going to help whittle down Geodude a little bit faster, while our weak Pound also does some damage. Before that, we're also going to be using a lot of Hypnosis, burn through Brock's full heals, and eventually try to get it to sleep and stay asleep so we can whittle it down and take it out. So the battle with Geodude goes on for quite a bit. Eventually we are able to get it to stay asleep, and then able to pound it out and finish it off, bringing us on to the Onix, where we'll see another difficult struggle of a battle. Onix is fast, outspeeds, and again, we still see the full heal issue, knowing that he's going to put us to sleep. During this part as well, you'll also see that I end up running out of Hypnosis power points, and that basically makes this battle unwinnable at this point. Pound is just not doing enough damage. I can't get him to stay asleep, and I can't disable him long enough, and even if I was able to, would not be able to take him out with struggle. We just don't have the HP. So at level 14, this just isn't really going to be happening. You can see I'm delaying the battle as much as possible here, trying my best to get through, but even then Bide is taking damage, and then once we get hit with Bind, it's just not going to happen. We're just not going to be able to take him out. We ultimately are able to get him down to about half health before going down ourselves, but that's just not quite enough, and we will have to do a little bit of leveling up and come back with a little bit of a different strategy to end up beating Brock. So we'll take a little bit of time to level here and come back at a little bit of a higher level and try it again. So you'll see we're coming back at level 16, so a little bit higher. And again, we're using that same strategy for Geodude, the combination of Hypnosis and Disable to whittle it down. While we're taking a lot of damage, I'm not too worried at this point. I've got a good strategy in mind here and feel pretty confident this is all going to work out. You'll see why as soon as Geodude goes down, but really, once we beat Geodude, this battle becomes easier and everything really will open up soon, because this game gets really easy once our Drowzee hits level 17 and picks up the move Confusion. Confusion is awesome because it is a stab move for Drowzee, and that gives us a lot of option to plow through the early game. In addition, Brock's Pokemon have terrible special, including his Onix, so you'll see once this gets picked up here, that we will learn Confusion and one-shot the Onyx. And if you remember the battle we had before, this is so much faster and so much nicer than the other one. And we have now earned the Boulder Badge and will be moving on to Cerulean City after going through Mount Moon, where there's not much that goes on of interest. So on to Rival Battle 2. I decided to go to Rival number 2 first because Starmie resisting Confusion due to its Psychic typing is going to be an issue. You'll see that Spearow gets a critical hit off right at the start of the battle here, but really it's not going to do too much overall with this. This is a really consistent battle. Confusion absolutely destroys his entire team, allowing us to move on to Bill. We'll battle another couple trainers too along the way to pick up a few more levels before challenging Misty. So Misty will start out with Staryu, and we're just going to attack right off the bat with the Confusion, and we're just going to burn through it. It does outspeed us and get a couple of water guns off, doing some damage, but ultimately we're able to take it down, leveling up, learning Headbutt to replace Pound in the process. This gives us a more powerful attacking move, which we test out right away on Starmie. Although it does go for Harden to raise its defense, the critical hit bypasses that, as Misty uses another X defend to increase it even further. I forget this and still go for Headbutt, which does almost nothing, before going to a Hypnosis strategy, knowing we can't outlast, and are able to eventually outlast the Starmie because it uses Harden again, and then we barely outlast with a critical hit water gun, allowing us to win the battle with 5 HP and move on to the SS Anne. While on the SS Anne, we pick up the TM for Body Slam, beating the one trainer who's guarding it. This will be useful later, but right now we're just going to go on straight to the Rival battle and Rival number 3. And Rival number 3, you'll see when we go into here, we still haven't healed since Cerulean, allowing us to dig back once we're done with this battle and also with Lieutenant Surge. But it's really not going to be a problem here as we outspeed almost all his Pokemon. So Spearow goes down with Confusion, so does Rattata, and then out comes his Sandshrew, which also goes down, and then his Eevee comes out, and Eevee does not go down in one shot, gets off at the weak tackle before going down to Confusion, and we've beaten Rival number 3, allowing us to move on to Surge. So we are going to be a little bit under level compared to his Raichu, but we'll see how this goes. We start out and make a kick, and oh, it's over. Critical hit takes us out right away. Yeah, so that was some bad luck. So let's try this again. And this one also goes a little weird. Starting with the next speed while I do Confusion, and then Raichu never attacks. Growl, 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 and more growls, and Confusion takes it out. So man, this is so weird. Gen 1 is such a strange thing sometimes with their AI choices, but anyway, we got the badge and we're moving on. So I'm going to go back and dig now to Cerulean City before going through Rock Tunnel, and then we'll start out taking on Erica because those poison types in her gym are not going to fare well versus Drowzee's psychic typing. At least that's what I'm thinking. We'll see how it turns out. Tangle will take neutral damage because it's pure grass type, but we do a lot more damage than I thought we would, but we're also taking a lot of damage, which I wasn't surprising. And it's actually a fairly even fight overall before taking it down, but I've lost over half my health already. Weepinbell outspeeds, and this is really not good. We also don't take it down with a critical Confusion. Man, that is really rough. So I take another try at Erica's gym. It doesn't really go so well. I still haven't taken out the Rocket Hideout yet. I thought this would go a lot better than it did. And then we also will have access to Psychic and Saffron really quickly as well. So after the end of this battle goes poorly, we'll go do some of those things, and then we'll end up trying it again at a little bit higher level with a little bit better moveset. And Psychic is the best move in the game for Psychic Pokemon, and you really see how great that is here. Tangle is still annoying, taking a couple hits to go down, but we will now outspeed the Weepinbell, and that is crucial. We don't take any damage, knocking it out really easily, allowing us to get to Gloom, and even though we do get hit with an Acid, we still have strong enough ability to tank it and move on, getting us the win. And allowing us to go back to Pokemon Tower for a Rival Battle number 4. Rival 4 is typically pretty easy, and I don't see why this would be any different. We can now have Psychic, we can do a pretty good amount of damage with that, and so far it's a sweep on the first 2 Pokemon with 2 attacks. Vulpix comes out, goes down again to a Psychic, Sandshrew comes out and goes down to Psychic, and then Eevee comes out and again goes down to Psychic. And speaking of how strong Psychic is in Gen 1 overall, let's go try out the Poison Gym in Koga and see how well this can go. This is one of those places though that I kind of forgot that he doesn't have his normal red and blue team, and Venonats come out and we don't outspeed. There's a massive level difference between us, and that level difference is huge. You can see we're doing damage, but then we also get absolutely destroyed when we actually get hit. And again, we'll try it a couple times here, but it's not doing much. We're one-shotting the first Venonat with the Psychic. The second Venonat is outspeeding us, and then we're able to one-shot it. So there's still a Venonat and a Venomoth left, and we are barely hanging on. We do make the Venomoth in this try, but Leech Life is just too strong and takes us down. So let's try Rival 5 instead. That's our other option at the moment, and see if that goes any better. Rival 5 is notoriously difficult, but it also doesn't help that we get poisoned right off the bat with Poison Sting. We do get a special drop with Psychic before taking it out, and luckily Sand Attack misses, and it allows us to take out Ninetales with 2 hits using Psychic and moving on to his Cloyster. Now Cloyster has his low special in Gen 1. It does outspeed and it misses a couple clamps, but luckily we're able to take it down, and now we're to Kadabra. Kadabra hits a Confusion, does some damage, Headbutt does about half, and then recovers. And then Headbutt does more damage, and Kadabra recovers. So this process goes on a little bit, just stalling me down. That poison is really killing, but at the same time we're able to take it down. Jolteon comes out, and if we get hit with a Pin Missile, we're done. And our Psychic is still, it's going to be a 3-shot, not going to be good. We do eventually get hit. This was the best attempt out of about 10, so it just wasn't happening. So I decided to move back on and retry the Poison Gym in Koga. We are 1 level higher now than we were before, so we're at level 37 going to the fight, and we're able to take down the first 2 Venomoth, both with Psychic, without taking any damage. The third comes out and hits a Toxic, which is better than being asleep, and we're able to take it out. Venomoth comes out, takes a couple of Leech Lives, but we do get a special drop with our Psychic, and we're able to take it down with the second, giving us the 5th badge and allowing us to make some more progress. Now this means we could either go to Blaine and maybe take on his fire Pokemon, but they're still going to have a massive level difference on us, so I decided to grind against some of the trainers in Silphco before taking on Rival 5 again. We start out with Psychic, taking almost all of Sandslash down, but is able to get a Sand Attack on us before going down. We then take a little bit of damage from Ember and Ninetales before we're able to take it out with our own Psychic. Cloyster's out and Psychic hits and does big damage, but Clamp will do some big damage to us, not letting us attack before we're able to take it down and level to 42. So Kadabra goes Disable and disables our Meditate, which doesn't do much damage as we're able to Body Slam it down. This time without poison, goes much better. So I'm feeling pretty good going to Jolteon 2/3 health, and then Pin Missile hits and goes for 5 turns. That's not great. Our Psychic also misses, and then Pin Missile hits again, and it takes us out. So I decided to go and pick up another level, come in at level 42, and we'll see how it goes at one more higher level, hopefully add a little bit more consistency to the battle. Psychic still doesn't have enough power to take out Sandslash in one hit, and we get poisoned with Poison Sting, but we are able to take it out. Ninetales is out, and I set up a Meditate to boost our speed and our attack to help us overall later in the battle, and then we Psychic it down, and we're moving on to Cloyster. Cloyster's out, we do a big damage with our Psychic, and it misses Clamp, and we easily take it out, moving on to Kadabra. This is what one of the big reasons for Meditate was for, and that is now a one-shot, and that's awesome. Level 43, and on to Jolteon. And Jolteon hits with a Pin Missile, and it's critical hit, and in Gen 1, that means everyone's a critical hit, 3 times, that's big damage. Luckily, I go for Body Slam and get the 30% chance for Paralysis. That makes it easy victory, taking out Rival 5. Man, that was a lot harder than I thought it would be, but hopefully that'll really let us make some progress now, with that big challenge out of the way. And that seems to hold true with Giovanni as well. His team has very high weaknesses to my Psychic typing, and even though his Persian is a little bit more difficult than I would like to take out, it's really not a challenge. This is an easy first time victory, and really his low special on his Pokemon mixed with my strong special base stats as well really makes this for an easy fight. And since we're in the area, I decided I might as well stop by Sabrina's gym and go for the Psychic badge and see how that goes. All of the Abra line have very poor defense, so even though she buffs it, we are able to take them out really easily with Body Slam, and then set up on the Kadabra with some Meditates to hopefully get some big damage and maybe get some one-shots. Even though we do take big damage with Psy Wave, I don't see that being an issue. Body Slam, and it gets a crit, so it bypasses all our boosts, and that increases our chance of getting knocked out by Alakazam. All we have to do is, it goes for Recover, and then we get Paralysis and Outspeed, and that's the 6th badge. Well, that was nice. I guess I'll take it, and we'll move on to Blaine. Ninetales is out first and goes for Confuse Ray, and it hits, but we're still able to work through it and get a special drop with our Psychic, work through the confusion again, and take out the Ninetales. On to Rapidash, who goes for Takedown and misses. We hit a Psychic, it goes for Takedown and misses, we hit another Psychic, and then eventually it takes itself down with its own Takedown, recoil damage. Arcanine is out and does massive damage with a Flamethrower. We can't take another one of those, and then Blaine decides to only put up Reflect, and we Psychic him down, and that's badge number 7. Man, Gen 1 AI is so weird, but it was a first try victory, so I'll take it. So on to Giovanni, Dugtrio, outspeeds, and he goes for Dig, and hits, and critical hit. Shades of Lieutenant Surge battle, one and done, and let's try it again to see if it goes differently. This time, Giovanni starts with Fissure, and it misses, allowing me to set up a couple of Meditates before going for my Psychic. I think it'll take it out. It doesn't quite do it. I just hesitate. Will he go in for a Dig? He does, giving me another chance to set up another Meditate, which will further boost my speed, and hopefully give me enough to take out the Persian. Well, it doesn't quite do that, but he uses a Guard Spec and then Screeches, lowering our defense. Nidoqueen is an easy one-shot, and then we level up, negating all of our badge boosting. This is not great. All he has to do is attack, but he uses Leer, and then a Guard Spec. Then out comes Rhydon, who is slower and goes for Horn Drill, which can't hit because he's slower, allowing me to win. Man, Giovanni loves those Guard Specs, but I'll take it. It was a little bit of luck, but it wasn't too much. So with that, I'm going to move on to the hardest 6 trainers in the game, starting with rival number 6. So rival 6 has his full team now, and he starts with Sandslash. Sandslash is not faster than me, so his Psychic doesn't quite take it out, but his Fairy Swipes misses, and we're on to his second Pokemon in his Execute. Execute's out, and I go for Meditate to boost attack, trying to make it a 2-shot, while it poisons me and then seeds me, and we're still not able to take it out. This is not a great setup for the rest of the fight. Since we'll be losing health after every time we don't knock out a Pokemon, that really makes this setup against Ninetales, who loves using Roar, very difficult, but we are able to take it down eventually. Out comes Cloyster, and Psychic isn't a one-shot, even though it has a very low special. We get hit with Aurora Beam before being able to take it out. Next up is Kadabra, and Kadabra hits a critical Psy Beam, taking us down to 5 health. Unless we one-shot Jolteon, we're done. Jolteon outspeeds, our Body Slam doesn't get to enough, and we're down. So we had really bad luck against Execute. I think we can do better. And now we're on to Sandslash. We again miss. I go for Hypnosis here to really make sure that I have a lot of safety. And it doesn't matter because I got a critical hit Psychic, and we're on to Execute with our full health. And I decide to use that Hypnosis strategy again after learning my lesson from the last time. I was not about to let this collection of eggs ruin my day for another time. So we go for Psychic, the Sunspore misses, and we're able to take it out. Ninetales is next, and even though Psychic doesn't quite take it out, it goes for Roar, doesn't do anything, allows me to set up another Meditate, and then goes for Tail Whip, further activating the badge boost glitch, and moving us on to Cloyster, who is an easy one-shot with crit hit. Obviously the boosts don't apply there, and then Kadabra is a one-shot with Body Slam due to all those Meditate boosts. Now we're going into Jolteon at full health. This is fantastic. Pin Missile goes out, and it hits for 3 turns. It's about 40%. My Psychic does massive damage, and then, oh no, critical hit. 2 HP. Our Psychic's able to take it out. Man, that was close. I will take it. Any more hits, and we would have been down. But we were able to move on and now face the hardest battles in the game, the Elite Four, and that starts with Ice Trainer Lorelei. So as we queue up our Elite Four theme, we see my first attempt without using any rare candies, any leveling up. I like to try this just to see how the Pokemon's going to do in the challenge, and right now it is not looking great. Although we do take out the Dugong, the Cloyster just wipes the floor with us, and so we're going to come back after using some rare candies and see how it goes at that level. Throughout the run, we picked up a total of 11 rare candies, and so that means we'll be coming into this battle at level 63, and things go so much better with those extra levels. Although we do start out with the Gen 1 miss with our Psychic, we do and take a bubble beam. It's not doing too much damage, and our next psychic hits and we get a special drop before the Dugong decides to take a nap. This gives me the chance to set up some meditates to boost my own attack for later in the battle against Jinx, but also gives the advantage of the badge boost glitch. Dugong wakes up, single psychic takes it down, Cloyster goes down to a single critical psychic, don't think what it mattered, and Slowbro comes out and we whittle it down with our psychic as it withdraws to boost its own defense instead of doing any damage. Jinx comes out, single body slam takes it down, and out comes Lapras. Psychic does over half damage before taking a blizzard, and I don't get frozen, which is perfect and lets me move on, taking the win. So I'll heal up and then we'll move on to Bruno. Now Bruno isn't really an expected challenge. I mean, Psychic types should wipe the floor with him. Even his Onyx that aren't super effective have very low special stats, so it's probably not going to be much of a challenge, although I did make it more difficult on myself by forgetting to restore my Psychic PP. So I realized that once I hit Hitmonlee in this battle, which kind of makes the battle go a little bit sideways. First two Pokemon are easy sweeps with Psychic, and right there is where you see me in that Hitmonchan realize I only have 4 left, and now he has 3 Pokemon. In case something went wrong, I decided to save some up for Machamp. So Body Slam takes over half damage, but I've taken way more damage than I wanted to so far. So if Machamp's able to get off a hit, I could be going down, but luckily Machamp doesn't, and we move on, making the Bruno battle much more difficult than it needs to be, but we were able to move on pretty easily, and not expecting too much of a challenge there. As we move on to the Agatha battle, where I do restore my power points before, and then heal up and take on the Ghost Trainer. Similar to the Bruno battle, I don't think this is going to pose much of a challenge, but we'll see how it goes. Psychic being so powerful should help out quite a bit. Agatha starts out with her Gengar, who does outspeed, and it actually gets off a Confuse Ray on us, and we are confused to start the battle, hurting ourselves before it goes behind a Substitute, which we easily break with our Psychic. Our Psychic then one-shots Golbat after she switches to Golbat for some reason. So Gengar comes out, sets up Substitute, and then we break it again and again, and then we eventually end up getting confused before taking down the Gengar, bringing out Haunter. Haunter outspeeds, but Lick, it doesn't affect Psychic in Gen 1, and we end up taking it down with our Psychic and moving on to the Arbok. Arbok outspeeds and goes for Wrap. This could be a problem. If it continues to do this, we have no chance to attack for the rest of the battle. Eventually, it does go for Glare, which luckily for us does not paralyze us fully, and allows us to take it out before moving on to the final Gengar, who hits us with a Psychic before we retaliate and take it out with our own Psychic. Well, that was a lot more difficult than I wanted it to be, and I thought it would be, but we are through. It's a first time win against Agatha, and now we're on to Dragon Trainer Lance. If we could make this battle against Agatha so much more consistent, if we were just a little bit faster, if we outsped her Pokemon, there would be absolutely no chance we would even take damage. It would be an easy sweep of her whole team, but unfortunately that's not possible at this level. So as we move on to Lance, where he starts out with his Gyarados, and we do outspeed, and we'll do over half damage with our Psychic. His Hydro Pump hits for just over a quarter of our health, and apparently we're in a speed tie, and this time Gyarados uses Leer before I hit our Psychic to take it out. Both Dragonair 1 and 2 are both easy one-shots with Psychic, which brings out Aerodactyl, who's a little bit scarier because of its speed, which goes for Swift, which is probably best case scenario. It still does big damage, but we're able to take it out with a critical hit Psychic. All we have to do is take out the Dragonite, and we're moving on, and we get frozen. And that's it. Now, that was pretty unlucky. We really didn't get the best luck with the freeze there, but I think I have a good strategy if we can avoid that freeze. And so we're going to give it another shot here before trying to level up or anything else. And we're going to keep the same strategy for Lorelei, Bruno, and Agatha, and then just a small tweak when we get to the Dragon Trainer Lance. So you're seeing here in the footage right now, we're doing the same strategy as we did before with Lorelei, waiting for the Dugong to go to sleep before setting up some meditates before being able to sweep her entire team. Now Lorelei's team can sometimes be a problem here, but for Drowzee and the high special and its good typing and being able to resist most of the attacks that these Pokemon are going to be able to throw at us really makes this battle pretty consistent. I lost it one time due to a freeze, but that really isn't too bad. And yeah, otherwise this is a pretty consistent fight. Consistently move on and get to face Bruno, and Bruno is super easy. And thinking through Drowzee and the stats and just being a Psychic type Pokemon, that's really easy to see. And so I'm not going to talk about Bruno as we go into this battle, but I do want to talk a little bit about what I'm thinking for Lance as I'm coming up here. So in the last battle against Lance, when we were seeing how we went about things, we didn't have enough health at the end, and we also got outsped by the Dragonite, which is really going to be a problem. So what I'm going to end up hoping for here is to take advantage of the badge boost glitch and use some meditates early on, maybe one, maybe two. I'm not sure exactly how many it's going to take right now, but to make sure that I have enough speed and take some damage against some of his weaker Pokemon to be able to outspeed his Dragonite. And then I think I'm going to be able to go for Hypnosis, be able to put it to sleep, although it's not the best strategy, not the most consistent necessarily, because it is going to rely on a little bit of luck. I think if we can get it to sleep, we should be able to take it out, and we should be able to move on to the Pokemon Champion. But before we do that, we have to get through Agatha, and Agatha can sometimes be a problem. We saw it last time that her Gengar can be really trolly, really cause a lot of problems, and starts out by using Confuse right here, but our Psychic hits it, takes it out, and then, the Golbat again goes down to one Psychic, and like I was kind of mentioning before, if we can get our Psychics to hit her Ghost and Poison Pokemon, it is just game over. There is no problem for our Drowzee, and we're moving on pretty easily. You see here we do get confused again by the second Gengar, but again it's a one-shot just like before, and it's an easy sweep of her team, and we're moving on to get our rematch against Lance. So as we move on, we heal up, we get ready for this next battle. I think the strategy here, and I mentioned it before, is going to be hoping that one of the other Pokemon goes for a weaker move and allows us to hit some meditates, whether that's a Hyper Beam, whether that's a weak Slam or something like that. I can take a little bit of time to go after it. That's what I'm hoping for. So we start out with a Psychic and we get our Hyper Beam. This is great. It doesn't do too much. Allows me to get my Meditate in while it recharges before taking out the Gyarados. Moving on to Dragonair number 1, we do a Psychic. Just like before, it's a one-hit sweep. Again, Dragonair number 2, same result. Everything is good. Aerodactyl comes out, hits a Fly, which allows me to end up taking it out on a Psychic when it comes back down. Now with a moment of truth, see if we outspeed. And we do, and we get the sleep. Perfect. Psychic does a big hit with our crit. For Hyper Potion, we get a special drop, but Dragonite never wakes up, and we're moving on to the champion. And this will be an interesting fight. This is my first time reaching the champion, so we'll see how this battle goes. Since it has been pretty difficult to take down the champion before, I think especially with the Jolteon, that Pin Missile is so scary, but we'll see how we go, and we heal up, and as we move on to face the champion in his room, we'll cue up the champion theme and see how this battle turns out. As always, the rival starts out with his Sand Slash. So the biggest problem that can go wrong here is if we get poisoned, and hopefully we can take it out with a one-shot. It barely hangs on, and Poison Sting doesn't get us, allowing us to take Slash out really easily here. Alakazam comes out, he goes for Kinesis, which would have been awful, but doesn't hit. Our Body Slam paralyzes, which is best case scenario, allowing us to move on. Now gets Executor, we're going to put it to sleep and set up our Meditates. This way it will really strengthen our badge boosts and also strengthen our attack in case we need to go with a physical attack later on. So we're able to set up 3, before it wakes up, put it back to sleep again, finish setting up, and then we start to whittle it down. So first off is a critical hit, which ignores all those boosts, but you can see how much damage that does based on that. Able to then finish our last Meditate before taking it out. Now we're at +5 attack, and Cloyster, low special, easy one-shot with our Psychic. And then we move on to Ninetales, which will hit us with Quick Attack, but really we're looking pretty good. We got really strong health heading into what will be his final Pokemon and his Jolteon. That is our scariest Pokemon that we'll be facing though. And to make things worse, we level up so our badge boost glitch is not in effect. Our Pin Missile hits, doesn't do too much damage there, even though it does hit 3 times. Body Slam does massive damage, doesn't quite knock it out though. Pin Missile, critical hit, this could be bad. It only hits twice though, allowing us to hit Psychic, taking it out, winning us the battle, and we are able to become the first Pokemon on this channel into the Hall of Fame. I have to say that was an awesome run. I had so much fun doing this Pokemon. It was one of my favorites, and we ended up with a time of 644 at a level of 68, so not bad overall. I probably won't stay number 1 for long, but for now, Drowzee is number 1 on the leaderboard. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified for all the latest videos when they come out. But until then, as a little sneak preview of what Pokemon's to come, I'm going to spin the wheel here in just a second, and we'll figure out what Pokemon of the remaining 150 is going to be the next challenger to see if they can take out Drowzee. So as the wheel spins, let's see who comes up. Slowing down, and here it is. It is Dugtrio. So awesome, a ground type Pokemon. This will be a fun one to look into. I'm looking forward to it and hope to see you back next time. And until then, I'm Droozee. Thanks for stopping by.